Well, hello there, sports fans from across the world. I'm Richard Parr, and you are watching Sportuccino. We are live on Thursday, the 16th of March, 2017. It's the programme which is live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Periscope, and crucially, your home of sport, Sportuccino.com. Nobody does it better. And on today's programme, we will be discussing Middlesbrough sacking Aitor Karanka as their manager with just 11 games left of the Premier League season. What did you make of that decision? Was it the right one? Who do you think should replace Karanka at Middlesbrough Football Club? Let me know your thoughts on that. We'll also reflect on the results of Wednesday's Champions League games. Manchester City crashing out in Monaco to the French Ligue 1 side, plus Atletico Madrid going through following a 0-0 draw against Leverkusen, going through 4-2 on aggregate. Plus, we're going to be talking rugby league coming up on the programme. I've got the London Broncos coach, Andrew Henderson, is on the programme as we look ahead to a thrilling encounter in the Challenge Cup 4th round. It's in Ealing on Friday night. We're going to look ahead to that match on today's Sportuccino, but let's start the show with our sports headlines. Middlesbrough sack Aitor Karanka as manager after 3.5 years in charge. Jermaine Defoe's recalled to the England squad 3 years after his last cap. Australia are 299 for 4 at stumps on day one of the third test against India. And Roger Federer beats Rafael Nadal 6-2, 6-3 to reach the Indian Wells quarter-finals. Well, as you see, we've got Andrew Henderson is coming up on the programme in just a few moments. But before we get to Andrew, I want to tell you that on Sportuccino today, we also want to talk about the England squad. Jermaine Defoe recalled to the team, recalled to the squad 3 years since his last cap. Is it the right decision? What do you think? Let us know on the Facebook page. Let us know on the Twitter page. Now, just before we look at who could be the next Middlesbrough manager, I want to tell you about 99 Designs. 99 Designs helped design our Sportuccino logo. I'm actually pretty proud of it. I actually love it. And what 99 Designs do is they offer it to talented freelancers around the world. You give an idea of what you want, then these freelancers get to make their pitches, make their designs, and you decide which ones you like. You then work with these freelancers until you are happy with a final product. I was very pleased with what they do, and you know what? If you're not happy, if you give them a go, they will give you your money back. Check them out, 99 Designs. I put a link to it on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. Plus, it's also on the resources section of Sportuccino.com. All right, so Aitor Karanka has been sacked as the manager of Middlesbrough, and we're talking about it on our Twitter page at Sportuccino. Let's have a look at it. So, have Middlesbrough made the right decision to sack Aitor Karanka? Let us know, yes or no, on the Twitter page. Was it the right decision? Of course, Steve Agnew is going to take charge of Middlesbrough. Their next game is is at home to Manchester United. A pretty tough game for Middlesbrough to face, but the question is, have they made the right decision? Well, according to the bookies, the favourites to replace Karanka in a full-term capacity is the former Boro defender, former Leicester City manager, Nigel Pearson. Would that be a good choice? The other top 5 in the bookies is Agnew. He's second, the assistant to Karanka for the last 3.5 years. We've also got Steve McLaren. Of course, he did a very good job at Middlesbrough when he was there, recently sacked by Derby for a second time. Gus Hiddink is available, did well with Chelsea in his last stint there. And of course, Claudio Ranieri is available. Love to get your thoughts on who you think could be the next Middlesbrough manager. All right, let's talk quickly about the Champions League. Monaco 3-1 winners over Manchester City. Goals from Mbappe, Fabiano and Bakayoko. Leroy Sané had scored one for Middlesbrough in the 71st minute, but it was that Bakayoko goal which proved to be the difference. The 5-3 victory, or 5-3 defeat by Monaco at the Etihad in the first leg was enough to send them through thanks to those 3 away goals. Well done to them. What did you make of the City performance? Did Guardiola put too much of an attacking team out? Love to get your thoughts on that. Of course, Atletico, as I mentioned, also going through 4-2. Now, you may have seen on Tuesday that it was Leicester's amazing story of beating Sevilla. And we spoke to Paul Giblin about Samir Nasri, who got sent off for Seville. And Paul wasn't very impressed with what happened with Nasri. Just have a quick reminder of this.
Previously on Sportuccino.
It was the Nasri I think we've seen at Arsenal and Manchester City rather than the Nasri we've seen playing really well at Sevilla this season. I mean, I think Vardy probably cast the fly into the water, didn't he? And Nasri basically took the bait. And it's one of those, if you were James Vardy, you'd take a yellow card each, knowing that Nasri had already got a yellow card, but he should have controlled himself better, and it's something he hasn't done of late. He hasn't done throughout his career, let's be honest, unfortunately. And it was a major handicap because Sevilla this season, when he's played, have really been a different looking proposition.
Yes, what did you make of that? Let us know your thoughts. Did you agree with Paul? Was that the Samir Nasri of old? Now on Friday in Rugby League, there is a huge game in the Challenge Cup. You've got to make your way down to the Trailfinders Sports Club in Ealing because it's the London Broncos taking on the new franchise, the Toronto Wolfpack. It's going to be an absolutely cracking game. And I am delighted to say that I have got the London Broncos coach, Andrew Henderson, now live on Sportuccino. Andrew, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks, Richard. Just enjoyed a family day today, mate, just in preparation for the game. We finished our preparations late yesterday afternoon, mate, so the boys are just relaxing today and looking forward to tomorrow night's clash, mate.
How have the preparations been going? Do the team look good?
Yeah, no, they look good. We've come off the back of a disappointing result on Sunday in the Championship up at Halifax. So the boys are a little bit smarting from that one, and we've been pretty focused on ourselves this week, just making sure we right those wrongs in the Challenge Cup. The great thing about that this week is the Championship competition's put aside for this week. It's a new competition, the Challenge Cup, and the boys have got a great opportunity, facing the Toronto Wolfpack, which is history in the making in itself, and a great opportunity to be back at home in front of our home fans and hopefully showcasing what we know we're capable of producing on that field.
Now, in football, we've seen that very often teams put out a weakened team for cup competitions. But I was looking at your 19 for Friday's match, and you've got a pretty strong 19 out there. And what was your thinking behind this team selection?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Look, we have got quite a few injuries at the moment. At the end of the day, we do have a number of our top line players out through injury, but we have a deep squad and a healthy squad at that. And we have to treat this game with respect. At the end of the day, we want to have a good run in the Challenge Cup. We want to treat that competition with respect. There's a lot of history and tradition behind the cup competition, and also the level of opposition that we're facing. The Toronto Wolfpack, they've assembled a very strong squad, a capable squad at that as well, with some really good players. So we know that we have to go in. If we're going to get a result tomorrow night, then we have to put a strong team out there. And I think as well, we're not playing our best football at the moment either as a team. We know that we've got a lot more in the tank and a lot more to come in the coming weeks. So I think it was just a good opportunity, again, for those players, the ones that played on Sunday to get that opportunity to put those rights wrong from the weekend, and also just an opportunity to get that team together and try and build some momentum with a good performance on Friday. That's what we're looking for.
What did you make of it when it was announced that Toronto Wolfpack would be joining the English Rugby League?
Yeah, I welcome it, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I think the game of rugby league over here in the UK is obviously it's been very much a northern sport for a number of years. I know now there's pockets of expansion throughout England and Wales and obviously the French are now starting to come into the English competitions as well, and so I'm always for the expansion of the game and the growth of the game, and the thing for me with the Toronto franchise is those guys that have set up that club over there, they've gone in with the mindset of, look, we're going to fund this, we're going to drive this. It's for the English game itself, there's nothing to lose really, because it's not costing us any money as an English game to make this happen. So I think let's give it a go. Let's see if it works, and if it does, then who knows? It could open up some new commercial interest within the game. It could open up some more opportunities for TV coverage and TV rights and media rights. So I very much welcome the Toronto Wolfpack into the competition.
So London Broncos, they're the only team in London. I'm from Brighton. I'm down here in the south. I've never been to a rugby league game. Some people could argue there is a north versus south divide. What do you make of that?
Oh, look, I think it's just been the way it is. I mean, the game itself was formed up in the north of England when it broke away from rugby union. So obviously, over the years that it's been established as a game, that's where a lot of the roots are, up in those heartlands. But we have seen in the last 20 years since Super League started up and the game became a full-time sport, summer sport. We have seen these pockets of expansion development areas up in Newcastle, parts of France, obviously in London and the south. I mean, even now today, yes, the Premier rugby league team down in the south, but we still have London Scholars. We've got Oxford, we've got Hemel, we've got Gloucester. There are other teams now at semi-professional level operating in League One. You now see the expansion of Toronto, Toulouse now in the Championship, Catalan Dragons in the Super League. There still is South Wales, North Wales. So the game is getting more, I suppose, national coverage and national spread, which is great for the game. But yeah, there is certainly a predominance of northern clubs because that's where the game has originated from. But it's slowly developing and it's slowly growing.
So you finish work Friday night. You've got the game at 8 p.m. What would it be like for someone who's never been to see a rugby league game? Talk about how that will be for us, Andrew.
Yeah, well, look, for somebody who's not been to a rugby league game, look, it's very much a family-friendly sport. So again, it's a great game to go to if you just want to go down with your mates and have a couple of beers. But also, if you want to take the kids and go there with the family, there's plenty of activities going on there for the kids. It is a real game day experience. And like I said, the game itself, it's quite easy to follow. If you don't know the rules, it's not a hard game to understand it as it goes on. It's plenty of action. The ball is in play more minutes than other sports. So, like I said, there's a lot of action going on, both in attack, both in defence. It's fast-paced. It's entertaining. There's a lot of contact, a lot of physicality, but a lot of skill on show as well. So it is an exciting game, rugby league. So again, if you do want to come and see an entertaining sport, then by all means come down to Trailfinder Sports Club at 8 o'clock tomorrow night and watch the London Broncos in action in the Challenge Cup against the Toronto Wolfpack. Because
there's something special about playing at night time, isn't there? There's something special about being under the lights.
Yeah, it's different. It is different. As players, and that you don't naturally get to do it as often as you'd like. I mean, obviously, these games come around now and again, so you have to prepare for that as you do. But yeah, no, it is. It's a little bit different there. There's a different atmosphere and a different vibe when it's under lights. And I know tomorrow night will be a great occasion. I think the other thing too. I think it's an exciting match tomorrow because it is history in the making. This is the Toronto Wolfpack. They're a new club. They're a full-time operation, albeit they're in the division below us. But they boast a lot of quality players that have played Super League, top-end Championship, as do we. We've got a lot of players there that are more than capable of playing in the Super League, have done in the past, and are obviously more than capable Championship players. So it's got all the ingredients to be an exciting, evenly fought contest. And like I said, I'd encourage anybody locally or within the London area to come down and have a look.
And of course, cup games are always special, aren't they, Andrew? And you were a player. Do you have many great cup memories at all?
Oh, the furthest I got to was the quarterfinals. So it was, and actually it was London that we lost to at the time. So that's the furthest that I got in the Challenge Cup. I've obviously witnessed many, and I've been down at many of the cup finals. Which again, the Challenge Cup final at Wembley and is a festival in itself. You get a lot of support from people that enjoy all sports, as well as people from different clubs within the rugby league. community, and it's a fantastic occasion, and it's a festival of rugby league, carnival atmosphere. That Challenge Cup final, and that's what obviously everybody who's in the Challenge Cup at the moment are aspiring to achieve. You know what I mean? To get to that Challenge Cup final at Wembley, it's stuff that dreams are made of. But my two assistant coaches have, they've been fortunate enough to appear in those Challenge Cup finals, and you know what I mean. They've had that experience, but yeah, it would be awesome, for the London Broncos to get there.
Yeah, you mentioned about the boys are resting today. One thing we like to talk about is more than the games, is more than the fixtures, more than the results. We like to have a look at how teams prepare. What is a typical training session for you guys?
Well, I mean, obviously it depends on how the week goes. I mean, obviously this week, because we played on Sunday and we've got a Friday game, we've had to have a bit of a lighter week. Just because obviously at the end of the day, the boys' bodies, they say on average a rugby league player body goes through a 30 mile an hour car crash. That's the impact that the body takes each game. So, it's important that recovery, intervention and rest is crucial to get that body ready to go for the following week. So we've had to be a bit lighter on the boys this week, but a normal week on a 7-day turnaround, we naturally give the boys a day off on the Monday after they've played, because at the end of the day, I'm a big believer in, once you've worked hard all week, it's important that you have a day just to clear the head. I said relax, spend some time with the family or your friends, and then obviously you start to tune back in on the Tuesday, where they'll do some weight training, some swimming to keep them off their feet, and then we'll do a video review of the game that we played. It's Wednesday when we start to hit the ground running, and we tend to find that we focus a lot of our day on Wednesday, very defence focused. So we have a look at the opposition that we're playing, the sort of style of play that they're going to throw at us. We go work on correcting some of our defensive work, and as well as preparing for the opposition as well. So it's a large contact day on a Wednesday, and then Thursday you tend to find on the field it's very much more attack focused. As we start to work our game plan building into the game, we also do the finishing touches on the Saturday morning of our game plan, just to make sure that we're all understanding fully on the page of what we want to try and do, and then it's game day Sunday. But again, between all that, they've got weights training, they have prehab stuff they've got to do. Obviously, again, in terms of the players themselves, they've got a duty to make sure they're looking after themselves with what they're eating, how they're sleeping. So there's some ownership there on the players in terms of their preparation. We do a lot of video analysis as well on the opposition and on ourselves, individually and collectively as a team. So there's a lot of other bits and pieces that go around it, as well as your recovery interventions, your ice baths, recovery massage, swimming, all that kind of stuff. So it is quite a big week. There's so much that you can do on the field, but then there's so much stuff you've got to do off the field as well to make sure the players are prepared for the upcoming fixture.
Sounds exhausting, Andrew. A lot to think about there. I'm going to give you two more questions. One is, I had your match day announcer Neil Reynolds on the show on Tuesday, and he said, yep, at half-time there's going to be a special guest. Now, I wouldn't be a good journalist if I didn't probe you to reveal who the special guest is. Do you know, Andrew?
I can't tell you, Richard. I wouldn't have a clue. I'll be honest with you. They've even kept it from me. That's how much excitement. They're trying to build this up, aren't they, and create that excitement and whatnot. So they're even holding it back from me. So all I can say to you folks, if you're tuning in, is get down to Trailfinder Sports Club, get there for that 8 o'clock kickoff, and there might be a nice surprise for you there at 8:45 when it's half time.
Well, I was going to ask one final question of, can you plug everything? But I think you've just done it. Andrew Henderson, thank you so much for being on Sportuccino. We can't wait to see the London Broncos versus the Toronto Wolfpack on Friday at the Trailfinder Sports Club. Andrew, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks for your time.
Really good to talk to Andrew there. Go and check it out on Friday in Ealing. Really enjoyed that chat with Andrew. Now, you may have noticed that he's clearly a man who's good at promoting. He had the London Broncos sign behind him. I'm wearing my Sportuccino t-shirt, and I'm also wearing, holding my Sportuccino mug. And in fact, if you want to buy any Sportuccino merchandise, here's a little bit more information that you can find at sportuccino.com. Yes, it was really good to speak to Andrew there. Now, a bit of tennis news for you. And Roger Federer has beaten Rafael Nadal for a third time in a row. Of course, he beats him at the Australian Open to win his 18th Grand Slam, and he's done it again in the fourth round of Indian Wells to go through to the quarters. Really impressive stuff. A straight sets victory over the Spaniard. But the big surprise was Nick Kyrgios. He knocked out Novak Djokovic. So Djokovic is out of that event. And we were talking about it on our poll yesterday, the Nadal-Federer game. We wanted to get your predictions for that match. And 100% of you thought Nadal was going to win, and 100% of you were wrong. It was, of course, Roger Federer. And we will continue to follow that tournament as it progresses on Friday. What did you make of it? Now, I mentioned Roger Federer, and he is a former world number one. And on my podcast, The Best in the World with Richard Parr, I dissect things from the greatest sports stars on the planet, be it Olympic champions, world champions, former world record holders, world number ones, to find out what they do differently from me and you. And a lot of the things they talk about is goal setting, and I'm really motivated by that. And you'll see today I set myself a bit of a challenge in the gym. Nothing as exhausting as what the London Broncos do. Not going to reach out, not with these puny arms and these puny legs, but we'll get there. We'll get there slowly. But anyway, let's have a look at what was my goal of the day. It was on our Snapchat page at Sportuccino. Just heading into the gym, and my goal of the day is to run 5 kilometers in under 25 minutes. It's tough. You've got to set your goals high, so I'll have to see if I can do it. That's my goal of the day. Absolutely sweating buckets, but delighted to have done the 5k in under 25 minutes. Goal of the day done. Europa League will be starting shortly. It will be Manchester United facing FC Rostov. 1-1 from that first leg. As we reported on Sportuccino yesterday, the Rostov pitch has now been closed by the Russian Premier League after criticism from Jose Mourinho, among others, for the quality of that pitch. What are your predictions for this Manchester United versus Rostov game? Of course, United lost on Monday to Chelsea. Love to get your thoughts on that. All right, just before we go, let's get a quick reminder of today's sports headlines. Middlesbrough sack Aitor Karanka as manager after 3.5 years in charge. Jermaine Defoe's recalled to the England squad 3 years after his last cap. Australia are 299 for 4 at stumps on day one of the third test against India. And Roger Federer beats Rafael Nadal 6-2, 6-3 to reach the Indian Wells quarter-finals. Those are the headlines on Friday, Sportuccino. We will look ahead to the final round of the Rugby Six Nations, the huge game between Ireland and England. Going to be an absolutely cracking game. England going to break that, or trying to break. I'm not saying they're going to. That would be a little bit too confident. Trying to break that unbeaten streak of New Zealand, 18 wins in a row. England level with New Zealand, going for that 19th win. Of course, it was Ireland who stopped New Zealand from going for a 19th. Will they do it again against England? Vunipola and Watson are recalled to the England team for that match. Love to get your thoughts on that. Of course, it is St. Patrick's Day weekend as well, so we will look ahead to that game on Friday. We'll also look ahead to the English Premier League and discuss much more on Friday's Sportuccino. One more thing is that Steve Smith did get his 19th Test century as Australia dominated the first day of the third test against India. They need to win this match to retain the trophy. Will they do it? We'll just talk about more of that on Friday as well. All right. I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino. I hope you've enjoyed watching us on sportuccino.com. Please like the Facebook page, subscribe to us on YouTube and on iTunes, and I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon from 4 p.m. GMT. Have a great one. Goodbye.